It's time for JUCO Jam, presented to you by Dream Big Athletics, hosted by Tad Slowick, an exciting new podcast bringing you all the great action from JUCO baseball. Here you'll find weekly updates from around the country, highlighting the teams, players, and coaches who impact the game at the junior college level. Everything you want to learn about JUCO baseball can be found here and on our website at dreambigathletics.com. There you'll find our weekly team rankings, the top player rankings headed into the spring, and all the news of what is happening in the game at the junior college level. On this show, you will have many guests, coaches, players who will give us insight on the day-to-day, behind-the-scenes working of junior college baseball. And now our host, Tad Slowick.
Welcome, baseball fans, to another episode of the JUCO Jam Baseball Podcast, brought to you by Dream Big Athletics. I'm your host, Tad Slowick. And I got a special guest with me today, Anthony Gillich, head baseball coach of the defending national champions, Central Arizona Vaqueros. How you doing today, Anthony?
Doing great. I appreciate you having me on. I always appreciate you highlighting junior college baseball. So it's fun to be on with you today.
Yeah, it's a great time of year for you guys. You guys seem to make these end of the year runs toward the national title a habit. What have you won? Won 2 out of the last 3, and then
yeah, we've been in the national championship game the last 3 years. So we won it, we lost it, and then we won it with a COVID year mixed in there as well. Canceled COVID year. So yep.
Right. So you're very familiar. Your team's very familiar. Obviously, your program has done so well, and I think a lot of the kids come into your program coming in here thinking that, you know, this is part of the process, is winning that national championship. And I think they're holding themselves to a higher standard. And this year has been no different.
Yeah, I mean, the standard has always been really high here, and it really hasn't changed. Even 10 years ago, I mean, we felt the same way about ourselves. Now it's hard to win, right? So
absolutely
we prepare the same way, and I know we're getting a little bit of notoriety these last couple of years because we've had some success, but like those teams before had a lot of success too. So not a whole lot has changed as far as like the standard and the expectations and those kind of things. We're just, I don't know, been able to navigate it a little bit these last couple of years, and I mean it's hard. I mean the other teams we play are really good, and they practice too, and they they have this kind of the same goals and dreams that we do, and so it's fun. It's fun to go out there and compete and get everybody's best.
Well, it's like the gauntlet. I mean, you got one of the toughest regions to play in all of junior college baseball. And it gets no easier just getting out of your region. It just all the quality teams. I think I've had 5 of the 6 teams ranked in my rankings all year. So it's no easy battle.
Yeah, I think what it does though is it really prepares everyone in our league for those like the district and the national tournament if we're lucky enough to get there, because it's such a bloodbath. In our conference every week. I mean, if you have a bad week, you lose, and that's the way it should be. And so, when you get to the national tournament, I don't know, like our teams the last couple of years just have felt really prepared for like the arms we've seen or the hitters we've seen or the style of play, because so many teams in our league are so competitive and so good and talented and have prospects and so on. And so, it's just it's tough to navigate through. But if you're lucky enough to get through it, then I think it really opens up for you and gives you a lot of confidence to try to make a run.
Yeah, it gives you a good opportunity once you get there to, make that final run there. And, last year was an unbelievable run you guys made. You had your backs against the wall in every series. Just to give an example how tough it is. And, I think that, like you said, had prepared you, and you guys had to work your way through all those teams to get to the Grand Junction last year. So.
Yeah, I mean, last year was a magical run. I mean, we had 10 elimination games against 10 unbelievable teams. So it wasn't like, hey, oh, we got a day off somewhere. I mean, along the line, I mean, our lives were on the line multiple times, 10 different games. I mean, against some of the toughest teams in the country. And I don't know. I think last year, we kind of started getting comfortable in that chaos where it's just, it seemed normal after a while, like, oh, okay, well, we're playing for our lives and, we either win or we turn in our uniforms in the next 3 hours, and so we just, and we try to create that culture here beforehand. So, we talk a lot about game 7. We talk a lot about treating each game like it's game 7, whether it's a fall game, whether it's a non-conference game, a conference game, or when, if we're lucky enough to get into like a game 7 type playoff atmosphere, I feel like our guys are prepared just because, like I said, we try to treat those games beforehand the same. And so, when we get into an elimination game or a national championship game, our guys aren't sped up. And at least that's the plan. I don't know if it always works, but that's the plan
Right.
for moving forward. And we want every game to mean something. So not just the ones in May, so I think that's one thing that's helped us prepare a little bit for those moments and have some comfort in those in those big moments.
Right, absolutely. And everybody knows in baseball you got to be consistent, you got to bring it every day or you're going to get knocked off by that tough pitcher or that good quality team that you end up playing against. And this year's team was no different, 46-10 record. I think you had a run, I can't remember, was it 26 games in a row you won during about the middle of the season?
Yeah, we had 28 in a row.
28 in a row. And I mean, that's a heck of an accomplishment, especially with the teams you're playing. So it seems that this team is pretty focused and prepared on their task ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think kind of some of the strengths of the team is something that like other than the talent and those kind of things, is they're motivated to work, which as a coach is music to our ears, right?
Right,
They
right,
want to work, they want to learn, they care about their game, and they want to get better, and so they ask for help a lot, they ask for extra work, they, just like I said, just little things are important to them. It matters to them. And I think that's a huge first step, especially when you're dealing with 18, 19-year-olds that can easily get distracted in different areas and stuff like that. And so, they're a focus group and pretty talented. And so, but like you said, I mean, it's a gauntlet to go through. I mean, we have Arizona Western this week. I mean, they have 2 unbelievable arms that we know we're going to face, and if we're lucky to get through that, then I mean, you got Pima or Southweight next.
right,
If you're lucky to get through that, you got Southern Nevada or whoever after that,
right.
and then so I mean, it's just I mean, it's tough, and so we're not looking that far ahead. We're just trying to prepare for Thursday. That's our first conference game or playoff game, sorry, and it's a 3-game series, and we're gonna have our hands full, and so we're trying to prepare for that.
Well, each year it just seems like teams have their each team has their own personality, have their different ways of winning ball games, and this year's team is more old school, where the pitching and playing defense. I mean, you guys have some quality pitchers, and you do play good defense. When I watch you guys, you could really flash the leather, and those guys on the mound pounded the strike zone. So it's good. And just want to let the audience know some of these numbers here that you've accumulated during the year because they're unbelievable. I mean, you got a team ERA of 2.34. I mean, that's pretty ridiculous. That's a quality year for a good pitcher. Then you got Patrick Stites, who's 8-1, 1.18. Matt Wilkinson, 10-1, 1.08. Theo Millis, 9-2, 1.90. Tommy Brandenburg, 6-2, 2.95. And then you got Josh Arabelle out of the pen with 7 saves and sub 1 earner and average. So I mean that's getting it done on the mound.
Yeah, it's that's kind of been our blueprint this year. Like you said, every year is a little bit different. Last year, we kind of, we could run some balls out of the yard and stuff like that, and allow the scores to get a little higher. This year, yeah, I mean, we've kind of kept the scores down, and yeah, pitching throws a lot of strikes, and hopefully we can play some clean defense, and it's kind of been our formula this year. But yeah, those guys. I mean, you mentioned our 4 starters right there, and then our closer as well, and.
You got
So
some other good arms there too.
Yeah, yes. I mean, we feel like we have some depth on the mound, and if it gets, our 5 through 10 pitcher versus someone else's 5 through 10 pitcher, like, I think we feel like we have an advantage there, and so, yeah. I mean, we're excited about it, and I mean, some of those guys you mentioned are just unbelievable kids. I mean, the tugboat, Mac Wilkinson. I
Tech,
mean,
yeah, Tech.
he's unreal. I mean, the closer Matt Arabal or Josh Arabal, excuse me. We had his brother Matt Arabal too. Josh Arabal is having a great year. He's actually allowed one hit on the season, and
Wow,
so
I didn't. Wow, that's
as the closer, so it was a nuke. He gave a huge bomb, but
but
other than that, that was the only hit he gave up, and so. It's so. I mean, we're having some guys with just some incredible years. I mean, Patrick Stites from last year is just improved so much, and a lot of credit goes to our pitching coach there with JoJo Howie, and so it's and then the defense is Coach Perez. I mean, he's getting those guys dialed in. So those two coaches are doing a great job, and the players are performing.
yeah, one guy I was thoroughly impressed with when I saw you was Luke Thiel, shortstop. Unbelievable glove, and I didn't realize how much ground he could cover. You hear about a guy's pretty good shortstop, but to see him in person cover the ground he does and come up throwing, with the arm strength he does, and he's just smooth out there. And that's probably one of the qualities of your team is strong up the middle too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Luke's always had a really good glove. All the way, he went to Hamilton High School, one of the top high schools in the country here, right here in Arizona, and played shortstop there. And he's just really rangy. I think you put it well. Just covers a lot of ground, takes away a lot of hits that just
Right,
would normally get through. And then he's got a big arm that can carry his depth in the field and whatnot. And so pretty sure handed. Knock on wood. He's hitting well this year, and yeah, up the middle with Lou Albrecht catching, and
right.
we've moved Rooster, Jonathan Hernandez, we call him Rooster, to center. We had an injury in center early in the year. Sebastian Tomerlin broke his hand on a pitch, and so we kind of had big high hopes for him, and so he's out for the year. But Jonathan Hernandez kind of took over and has played a really good center field, and so yeah, we kind of feel good up the middle and kind of start our defense there, and then fill in the left side and the right side from there.
Right, and then you've gotten some good quality hitting from Blake Avila, a big bat for you, and then Tyrese Johnson's been swinging pretty good all year too.
Yeah, and those guys were guys that were on last year's team. So, those are guys that a lot of our guys look to in these moments now that we're heading into the playoffs of like, how do we prepare? Do we prepare any different? And how do we manage our bodies, in the course of a 56 game season plus playoffs? Like, how hard do we push ourselves and those kind of things. So those guys have been through it a little bit, so that's been a real benefit having guys like those two guys like you mentioned, Ashton Webb, who was here last year, even Luke Thiel redshirted for us last year, and so on, and the tugboat and Patrick Stites and those guys, like, so those guys that have been through it one time. And I think we played 72 games last year, and just it's a lot on a body. So
No, no doubt.
so I think a lot of those guys have kind of looked to those guys on, and another thing, just how we react to failure, right? If we lose a game, or
Yeah.
does everyone panic or freak out, or, those kind of things, or do we, keep working? And so it's been really nice having those guys in a leadership role.
Yeah, and I think when I saw you during the middle of the year, you were dinged up a little bit too. So you've had to overcome some things and get some people healthy. Everybody pretty healthy right now.
Yeah, yeah. Other than Tomerlin, who's out for the season, I mean, everyone's as healthy as can be. I mean, I think after 56 games, everyone's got a couple bumps and bruises here and there, or sore, or those kind of things in different spots. But yeah, for the
Right.
most part, guys are healthy and feeling good, and it's kind of a nice, like, after 56 games, you're worn down a hair, but then you get a shot of adrenaline knowing you're going into the playoffs. Just a natural shot, just like getting excited to play and rejuvenated to get out there and know it's all on the line. So yeah, I expect our guys ready to go.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That adrenaline does kick in as a player. And, I think with the experience you guys got too, you'll definitely be ready to go. Any other things about this team that different or just kind of Oh, the one thing I forgot to mention too. So when do the aluminum bats come out?
So they'd be it's for district play. So
Okay.
we have a 3-game series in our conference, and then the 2 winners of the 3-game series play. Those are all wood bat games, and then if you make it to the third round, the round before the World Series, that's when aluminum bats come out, and that's tricky over the last couple
Yeah.
of years. I mean, it is. I mean, it's it gets on the defenders quicker. It comes off your bat on bunts different, and then the whole game is a little different. I mean, we're used to playing 4-3 games, or 3-2,
Right.
and those kind of games, and all of a sudden you have to win a game 13-10, and or
Right.
not panic when your pitcher gives up a 4 spot, like you just let them
Right.
keep rolling, and those kind of things. And so, so it's a little bit different, different game, different feel. But the last couple of years, we've adjusted to it pretty well. Like I've always said, our hitters love it, our pitchers hate it.
Right. 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 Right.
But we have some swing and miss on our team this year as far as our pitchers go, and so that usually translates pretty well to the metal bats.
Right. Guys that could pitch, they can miss barrels against wood bats as well as they can miss barrels against aluminum bats. So and that's like you talked about earlier too. Your depth, your 5 to 10 pitchers. Those guys are going to have maybe get some time. In those bigger games because maybe the score is a little bit rougher than usual. So
Yeah, and it's tournament setting too. So I mean, there's just more games to navigate. It's not just. I mean,
absolutely.
like in a 2-game series like we play in our conference, or even a 3-game series coming up, like it's pretty easy to stay, 1 through 6 kind of in those. But like,
Right.
once you get into a 4-game or 4-team tournament, or in the national tournament, 10-team tournament,
Right.
I mean, you guys got to be ready to go, and those losers bracket games can get wild, and we've been in those before, and so I think your depth kind of shows up as the season goes. So hopefully, we're lucky enough to showcase some of the depth.
Right, and it's baseball is such an interesting sport, and you need a little bit of good fortune in the postseason as well as being such a quality team too. So
No
hopefully that
doubt,
good fortune comes your
no
way this
doubt.
year. Well, it seems like you guys are prepared and ready to go. You got some experience. You got those guys on the mound. Pitching and defense is what usually wins these things. So hopefully you can stay the course and defend the title, bring
Yeah,
it home again.
yeah, I appreciate it. Like I said, I mean, it's been a pretty magical run, and I'm proud of this group. No matter how it turns out, I mean, they've been working hard, and so, like you said, everybody's got their own personality. This team's got a little bit different personality than last year or the team before, so it makes it fun, keeps you young as a coach. They keep you on your toes a little bit, and so yeah, it's been great, and looking forward to this upcoming week.
Well, we wish you all the best in the postseason, and hopefully get the Grand Junction and can see what you could do there. So I know you got a tough road ahead, and we wish you well on that also, Anthony. Thanks for joining us today.
Yep, appreciate all you do. Thanks, Tad.
You've been listening to JUCO Jam. For all your junior college needs, go to dreambigathletics.com and make sure to tune in to next week's episode of JUCO Jam.